Today I wanted to film a quick video about coccidiosis and how to treat it in your backyard flock. Most people, if they have livestock long enough, they're going to encounter coccidiosis at some point. So we're going to go over some facts and some care tips today if that ever happens to you. Now, one of the things to know is to be aware of what signs to look for. Now keep in mind, poultry, they're prey animals, so they have to hide their illnesses because if not, they're going to get picked off by predators easier. So it's in their instincts to not want to show any obvious signs if something is wrong. They may be acting normal, but if you see yellow or bloody looking stool, that is a very clear sign that your hens may have coccidiosis. If they have a bad case of it, they might start acting lethargic, they might be having diarrhea. If you see it in one bird, it's best to treat the whole flock because since they're all around each other, chances are they're going to be spreading it all around. This time of year, spring and summer, it's more common, especially when you get a lot of rain and the ground is wet. It creates an optimal breeding ground for this parasitic issue. So one of the key things to do is try your best to make sure that your run and your coop are clean and dry, especially if you notice this outbreak. If it's a particularly wet spring, you can put down straw or pine shavings or pelleted pine bedding to help absorb it. You can put down undyed mulch or all-purpose sand to help dry things up. And you can even use PDZ granulars. Put that in your coop or in your run to help with the moisture and also help with the odor issues so you don't attract any pests. Then you're going to have to learn how to treat it. If it's a very severe case, you want to contact a licensed vet. But in most cases, you can go to the local feed store and treat it yourself with products there. You can find something there called Corid, and the active ingredient in it is amprolium. Now, if you've raised chicks before, you've probably had people at the feed store ask you, do you want medicated or non-medicated feed? The medicated feed has amprolium in it for the chicks. However, it is not a dose in that feed strong enough to treat an existing outbreak of it. It's only enough to prevent it. So buying the medicated feed is not going to do the trick. You need to actually give them the full dose of Corid. If you want to know more about the medicated versus non-medicated chick feed, I do have a video on that on my channel that you can check out. So for this, you're going to want to mix 1 to 2 teaspoons per gallon of water. And you want to do this for 5 to 7 days. And make sure that that is the only source of water that they have to drink because you want to make sure that they are getting the medication. Now, I know anytime you have to medicate an animal, especially if it's poultry and you'll be eating their eggs, that can sound a little bit scary. But trust me, you don't want your animals to suffer or get worse because coccidiosis very well can wipe out your flock. Technically, the FDA does not issue a withdrawal period for eggs, so you are able to still eat the eggs even when your birds are medicated with this. However, if that makes you uncomfortable, feel free to toss the eggs if you really don't want to do that. It's up to you. Do your own research and do what makes you feel comfortable. But at this time, there is no withdrawal period recommended for the eggs. It's a pretty benign medication as far as that goes if you're worried about it transferring anything to you. But keep in mind that just like all medications, it is not without side effects. This does affect the B1 absorption in your birds, and that's part of how it treats and gets rid of the coccidiosis. And if you have birds in your flock like silkies who are already susceptible to vitamin deficiencies, you want to be extra vigilant during this time. For at least a full week after treatment, you want to provide your hens with a vitamin supplement. Poultry Cell is a good option, and you can find this at most feed stores. If not, you can order it online. Here's a look at the instructions on the label. And this will help ensure that your birds don't get any deficiencies from their treatment. You're going to want to mix this into their drinking water. And you can even do what I do and make them what I call a chicken health drink. And that's basically when I add other things to the water such as herbs. Mint is a really good one. So is rosemary. And thyme and oregano are also loaded with different medicinal properties, and it's good to add those to the water as well. You can achieve this by putting it in your water and letting it soak in the morning or letting it soak overnight so that way it gets more of the beneficial oils out of those herbs. Or you can even boil some water and put the herbs in and steep it as if it were a tea and then add that to some more fresh water to help dilute it a little bit. But if you do that, obviously make sure that you let it cool or add some ice to it before bringing it out to your hens, because you don't want to serve your hens boiling hot water, especially in the summertime. That just would not be smart. But that way you can get more of the nutrients and the benefits out of these herbs for your hens to drink. This will really help support their gut health and their overall health during this time. And the mint especially can also help to settle their stomachs. You can do this herb mix as well as the vitamin supplement, and my hens seem to really enjoy it. Also, make sure that when you're dealing with your livestock, especially during a time of an outbreak or an illness, that you disinfect your shoes properly with a bleach and water solution and wash your hands with hot soapy water. That way you don't accidentally transmit anything to yourself or your other animals. If you go through this treatment period and there's no improvement after a week, or if they worsen during treatment, please contact a vet so that they can look into the issue, see if they need to form a different treatment plan, or see if maybe it's a different issue altogether. That was just a brief and basic look into how to treat coccidiosis in your backyard flock. But as always, make sure you do your own research on the topic, and never be afraid to reach out and ask for help if you're struggling along the way. To end off this video, we're going to pick a new employee of the month. I know I skipped last month, but things have been really crazy lately, but didn't forget this month. So the employee of the month is going to be Magnolia. Magnolia was my very first chicken ever. I got her from a local breeder. She is a 5-year-old Welsummer hen. I got her when she was just a couple days old. And my friend was getting some chicks from that same breeder at the same time, so we kept them together until I got the rest of my chicks a few days later, so that way she wouldn't be lonely. She's a really intelligent, pretty quiet chicken. She may not be as in your face and cuddly as some of the other ones that I have, but she does not have a mean bone in her body. She's pretty chill. And I'd say probably one of the smartest ones I have in my flock. One of my favorite things about her is the gorgeous egg that she lays. She lays a beautiful dark brown egg with speckles all over it. It's so pretty. And she lays fairly consistently too. I'd say she lays about 4, maybe 5 eggs a week. Now that she's getting older, it's slowed down more to maybe 4 a week, which still isn't bad at all, especially for her age. And she actually has gone broody on me a couple of times, and I let her raise chicks once, and she did a pretty good job. So congratulations, Magnolia, you are the employee of the month.